Podcast Nusantara adalah persembahan dari Nusantara Datacenter Academy yang memiliki visi untuk menumbuhkan talenta digital yang berkompeten di dalam industri data center. Welcome to this episode of Podcast Nusantara. My name is Sari Octaviani, your host for this session. Our today's topic is keeping up with the demand data centers in industrial parks. So, the increasing need for data centers has led to a growing demand for suitable facilities to host them. And industrial parks are emerging as a viable solution to meet this demand. In this episode, we will be speaking with two industrial parks experts. The first is Mr. Tsuyoshi Ohara, as the head of technical planning and construction at PT Puradelta Lestari. Ohara-san has 33 years experience at various construction projects in Japan, Indonesia, UAE, USA, and Taiwan. To date, he has already worked with general contractors, facility management companies, project management consultants, and now working at a real estate developer in Indonesia, handling various projects of buildings and infrastructure, including data centers, since 2014. Our second speaker is Pak Abednego Purnomo. Pak Abed is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at PT Suryacipta. He currently handles various clients, including manufacturing, logistic facility, and also data centers. Pak Abed has also been appointed as the head of ICT and digital communication by the Industrial Estate Association of Indonesia. Both of you, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
They will be sharing their personal experiences and insights on the challenges and opportunities of setting up data center industrial parks, the economic advantages they offer, and the infrastructure required to support them. So, join us as we dive into the world of data centers in industrial parks. Okay, let me start with the first question. This question is for both of you, but I will go with Pak Ohara first. So, can you please let the audience know about your personal background and the company background you are working for currently?
Yeah, actually, my educational background is architecture and environmental engineering, mainly for building environment. And then after graduate, I have been a long time for main contractor, construction management, and especially MEP.
Mhm.
And then I moved to the project management consult, facility management, and then now current position is real estate developer, technical head.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I have various. I think I have a diversified experience in this field.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think starting with contractor now, developer is for me it's ultimate goal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm very excited every day. Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pak Ohara. What about you, Pak Abed? What's your personal background and company background you're working for
Okay.
currently?
So basically, my study was related to human resource and marketing. So it's not really related to what I'm doing now as a real estate developer and management company. But I started off my career in the shipping line and in the property consultant, in advisory to clients as well, especially industrial clients. And now I'm working for industrial estate developer and a management company.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about the demand of data centers. What kind of surge are you experiencing in terms of the demand to provide lands and its relevant facilities to data center investors for the past 4 years, perhaps? Please, Pak Abed.
Yes, I have to be honest with you. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Ohara-san.
Yeah.
Previously, is in an industrial estate, we didn't think of data center until late 2018, where we started to hear and receiving inquiry from data center operator and owner and operator. Sorry, yeah. So we are forced to learn about the requirement of data center, how as the industrial estate, as the host of companies, we can accommodate the demand and the requirement of data centers. Maybe Ohara-san has a additional point.
Yeah. In terms of time, my GIC is exactly same as Abed-san's case as Suryacipta. So initial inquiry came, if I'm not mistaken, yes, at same 2018, and then 2019, negotiation and the land sales deal, etc. for the initial customer of data center. After that, following data centers came until now. Now it's 2023. Yeah, we have lots of tenants already. Let's say 10 different data centers, and then including repeated order from the same data centers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. So building off from what you have just said, what makes it special in setting up a data center industrial park compared to a non-industrial complex? Can you also let us know the distinctive features between a regular industrial park and one that hosts data center parks? Is there any specific site certifications that it must hold? Please, Ohara-san.
There is no need for any specific certification. However, in order to invite global players of data centers, our site industrial area should be very, very capable in terms of utilities and also safe against any bad thing. Security safety level should be very high. Also, data center is, as you know, must have very electronic equipment, massive equipment, so should be free from flooding.
Okay.
That's the most important thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Abe?
And adding to what Ohara-san mentioned, of course, what is expected from industrial estate developer, we need to ensure their requirement is fulfilled. Requirement of water, requirement of electricity, and communication infrastructures like fiber optics.
Yeah.
And again, security is number one because data center pays a lot of attention on security.
Okay, that's a great insight. So specifically for the data center industrial park, what economic advantage does it offer compared to a non-industrial area, Pak Abed?
Well, economic advantage for data centers to be in industrial park is basically they can plan their initial investment, and then not only initial investment, also their future development and expansion. For example, if a data center in the city, they need to build upways. They need to build in a high building. For example, if they actually build 10 floors, in the future when they need to expand, basically it's very challenging for them to add 5 more floors.
Alright.
But in an industrial estate, there is a tendency where data centers will actually build sideways. And therefore, for example, like in a big piece of land, they can start building phase 1. In the future, they can build phase 2, phase 3, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, moduled.
Okay.
Can be moduled.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So do you have any other insights for the economic advantages?
Yeah, I agree with Abed-san. So in central city, there still needs or demand for city-located data center, which usually inside a high-rise building. However, for bigger scale and for bigger future expansion, if industrial area, industries can provide larger size of site plot.
Okay.
So for intensive development for longer term, it's very suitable.
Okay, so you both agree that it will be very advantageous for the data center operators to locate their facility
And more flexible.
And more flexible, of
Yeah.
course. Could you please also give us an overview of your current data center tenants' power requirement, perhaps in cumulative or in the future, and how many data centers operators are currently located in your complex, and how do you also ensure the power availability, power quality, and also power backup to your clients?
We have already, GIC have already multiple data centers, and some of them have already been complete. And then Now, not much yet, but we expect, their electricity consumption is kind of in the range of 700 to 1,000 megawatt within a decade. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's really depending on the situation, circumstance of their IT business, though. Yeah.
Okay.
Then also, I think it's very common in which industry it is. However, data center customer really need duplicated redundancy power supply also.
Yes.
So they also should have their own genset, genset, and then genset to cover another genset, and also UPS, etc., etc. Yeah. So
Okay.
very intensive facilities are there inside.
Okay. What about the situation in your area, Pak Abed?
Yes, of course, I agree with the Ohara-san. And in terms of power, I think we also need to ensure that data centers will have a dual feed from different substations. In case if one substation actually goes down, it's still supplied with the other substation and still backed up with the UPS, the generator, or maybe a little bit of renewable energy now and in the future.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, data center customers usually starting with smaller scale. Let's say if they have 4 or 5 modules, they will start with first module usually, and then they are always watching the growth of their IT load business, then increasing. So, I think medium voltage and also high voltage supply should be available.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. So what do you think are some of the key considerations for investors to keep in mind when building and operating a data center facility in an industrial park? Ohara-san.
I think their requirements to us developers are always, utility availability, as Abed-san said, electricity, fiber accessibility, also water, because they use a lots of water by their cooling system, HVAC mechanical system. Also, very safe location in terms of security and flood free.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In Indonesia, of course, there are very diversified locations. Also, in terms of earthquake or volcano, it should be also, we should be carefully selected. Yeah, our lands are very safe in terms of that. No volcano around there.
Of course. Yes.
And in terms of earthquake, the area coefficient is much lower.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it depending on the area, even in the same Java Island, it's different. But our locations are quite safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about your clients, Pak Abed? Have they ever requested any specific things?
I think the requirement or the request from our clients are actually pretty much the same because data centers, they have the same procedure or the same requirement internationally. Just adding to what Ohara-san mentioned, maybe the accessibility and reachability of the data centers, because
I see.
in case of emergency, they need to act immediately.
Right.
The location and the source of labor, the source of skilled labor, for example, like IT specialists or hardware specialists, they need to reach the data center within 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a great insight. The
Yeah.
reachability is very important, right?
Also, in terms of geographical factors, our lands are, inland side. However, the customers should be careful in case of relatively seaside, because of, in case of earthquake, tsunami may come.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm from Japan. So in Japan, I already visited several data centers in my previous company as a project manager. So in Japan, including Tokyo, very often earthquake happening. So it's different country by country. But in Japan, another 2 more condition is, safe location against tsunami, and also building should be seismic building. Yeah,
Right.
to absorb the movement of the earthquake.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
However, those two are not not applicable in our West Java area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So, when in the future more data center parks become a reality in different parts of Indonesia, what would be the economics for the enterprise IT managers to move there instead of hosting their data center in the central city location or even moving out to the cloud? Ohara-san.
Well, yeah, let's say some customers are, having only in the city or some other place outside Indonesia, and then if they want to come to Indonesia, maybe it really depending on cash flow. I mean, capex, opex, and also payback period is when. And that factor including land price and building construction cost and also operation cost, electrical charge. So it's really complicated. But yeah, as far as it's really feasible. Yeah, they can decide to come in. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
What's your opinion on this, Pak Abed?
I think the more data centers that come to Indonesia is going to be good, because if I remember back then when I used to work for a property consultant, whereby in not all offices, but in most offices, they have a dedicated room, maybe 2 meters by 3 meters, or even a bigger room like 3 meters by 4 meters. They need to provide that space to have their own servers. So the more data centers that we have in Indonesia, it gives the flexibility of companies to choose to host their data into the cloud provided by the data centers, or they have the option to have their own servers. But having their own servers in their office space, it costs them the capital expenses to have the server.
Sure.
And also about the electricity use,
Part of OPEX, yeah.
OPEX,
Yeah.
and also the space that they rent in the office space. They have to pay rental to the office building,
Yeah.
and plus they need to have their own IT personnel to maintain.
Yeah.
So it gives them the flexibility and easiness to start and operate their office operations. And remember, we are now expecting a lot of, not expecting actually, we are now having more and more startup companies. For these young people, give them the easiness, give them the flexibility to start and to implement their ideas into reality. So they can actually outsource their data storage to those data center companies. So I think having more data centers in Indonesia is actually good, not only for us as the industrial estate developer and management, but to support the existing companies and the startup companies as well.
Okay, so it helps lots of parties, yes?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this trend will, further growth and continue. I mean, outsource. Yeah, outsource. If company is more global nature or more international nature, the more they will outsource for many things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So it's a good trend for
Yeah.
the industrial estate.
Yeah, and then can you imagine if big companies are international players, usually they have contracts not only one place, multiple place, we call it portfolio program, even inside multiple companies. So, so outsourcing is really preferred.
Okay. It
Yeah.
will be more cost effective.
Yeah, because they don't have such the things as Abed-san said, staff, so equipment, etc., all outsourced, and as per the demand, they can reduce the service volume also. So flexibility is also there.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And what factors making a particular industrial park more attractive than others for data center investor, in your opinion? And inside the industrial park itself, do data center park need to be placed in a spatial zone area?
Yeah, of course, as we discussed earlier, data center customers' requirements are quite clear and very, very intensive and demanding in terms of utilities, electricity, fiber accessibility, water. and also free from flooding, and then free from any incident or accident. I mean, security, safeness. So those things should be secured always. Yeah, and then maybe some particular area will be assigned for data center because one item flood free. So flood free means inside even in the same inside our area, relatively higher location is very preferred. So automatically should be collocated as a group area.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's a great insight. So they will prefer higher
Yes,
land.
higher land.
Okay, all right. What about you, Pak Abed?
Yes, and also data centers, they prefer to have flexibilities as well. The flexibility that I mentioned include for example, fiber optic. They some of the data centers, they have their own data, but some of the data centers, they actually have the clients or the tenants inside the data center. They need to have different internet service provider, different ISPs or different provider. I think for my case, I offer them as much flexibility as possible, so that they have the options to go with ISP A, ISP B, ISP C.
Okay.
And then again, redundancy is the keyword for data center. Redundancy of power, and then redundancy of water. For example, the connecting point of water is not only from single point but also from 2 point. And the redundancy of fiber optic. I believe the industrial estates that are having data centers, we already know that we have to have entry points of fiber optic, for example, to our industrial estates from different direction.
That's
Meaning
very important requirement from
Yes.
data center.
very agreed.
Yeah.
And in case if this entry point is troubled, if there is having a cutoff, at least the data center can have the connection from different direction, because connection is their life, connection is their blood of data center.
Yeah.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. What about the data centers located in your area? Are they placed in a spatial zone as well?
Yes, they are placed in a spatial zone, which is in the phase 3 of our development for tourisms, because as Ohara-san mentioned, that's the highest part of our industrial estate, whereby it's 52 meters above the sea level, compared to the toll road, which is about 17 to 18 meters above the sea level. So they're there because of the security reasons, and then they're there because the infrastructures in that area is already established, because the data centers, they would prefer to be in the same area because they know that the infrastructures is there, or at least if it's not there, they just need to do a little bit of connection.
Yeah. That's a rationality. Yeah, very, very rationality to be located same each other.
Yes.
And then if we talk with one of data center customers, they always ask us, who is, what kind of industry around there? Of course, we cannot name
Of course.
at all. Yeah. However, usually they prefer side by side.
Yes.
Neighbors are also data. It's very preferable environment. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a hypothetical question from me. If there's a data center operator coming to your place, and then I would like to have this land as my location, just picking randomly, is that possible? And then what kind of infrastructures are necessary for every industrial parks to be able to support data center facilities in their area, and how do they need to ensure that this kind of infrastructures are in place? Abed.
The potential risk of having a data center.
Yeah, if there's any.
Well, not very significant risks, but we also need to consider about the risk of environment, because
data center is very, very resource demanding,
Yes.
utilities and energy. So if any disturbance, interruption, it's a biggest risk for them. Plus any kind of this sabotage or demo or around that security importance is also there. So those are the as we already repeated, those items are very carefully secured